Alright, so CIG says we gotta do this in less than 5 minutes, so let's see if I can teach you how to be a solo pirate and steal ships in Stanton in under 5 minutes. Hey everyone, Stranger here. So the first things first, you're gonna pick whatever ship you want to use. For this, you don't need any kind of fancy meta pirate ships or anything. Starter ship does perfectly fine. The next thing you need is a good FPS loadout. Whatever you feel comfortable with and whatever you want to use. I recommend heavy head, heavy torso. Legs and arms are pretty much optional. I like to run legs just so I can carry an extra med pen and an extra gadget. Make sure you pick a good weapon that you like and bring plenty of ammo, as well as some drinks to drink, because you're going to be out there for a while sometimes. So after you have all this done, the next part is simple. Get in your ship, fly to a mining post that's popular with traders, and pretty much land. Now, you have two options here. You can just land your ship, and if it's inconspicuous and not really threatening, just leave it there. Or if you're coming in something that might scare away some traders, you can go ahead and park it on top of a platinum bay pad. This will start a timer, and after about a little more than a minute, will impound your ship. If you do this, just know that now you're stranded here. So it's beneficial if you have something like a Pisces or a talent you can call from the platinum bay pads to get out of here. If not, you'll have to wait for somebody to come pick you up, or hope that some trader does come and you can take their ship. Now, here's where the waiting game begins. It could be minutes, or it could be a very long time before somebody shows up, and there's no guarantee that the person showing up is a trader. You might also have to contend with other pirates that are in the area. This is nothing more than a game of patience, and if you wait long enough, you'll usually be rewarded with pretty good amounts of money. But this isn't for everyone. Some people don't have the patience to lay here for what could seem like hours on end. Now, let's say that a cargo ship does come in. He lands on the pad or somewhere near the admin building, and he runs inside. This is your opportunity now to start getting set up. Find a place that's close enough to the ship that when he calls the elevator or puts the ramp down, that you have enough time to run straight inside the ship. Depending on the ship, some are going to be easier than others to get into. A C2, for example, when the elevator comes down, even if the owner doesn't send the elevator up, it's going to be on a timer. It's going to go by itself. If the ship owner puts the ramp down and you're forced to run into the back of the ship or the front of the ship, just run straight for the cockpit. You're engaged in nothing more than a Star Citizen sprint. You need to get through all the doors and hatches and get to that pilot seat as fast as you can. Once you're there, get in that pilot seat, and now you control the ship. Do not fly out of Armistice. Hover the ship just above the pad or within Armistice and decide what you want to do. You can try, depending on the size of the ship and the amount of cargo inside, to do an extortion. It might just be easier to have the pilot pay you a fee and land the ship and let you be on the way. But let's say you found yourself a juicy tick trader, and this guy's decided to fill up a nice C2 full of gold. Well, you might want to take every single gold and move all 696 boxes just to make those over 4 million credits. This is where the sketchy part of the dodgy part comes. You're going to have to set your SCM speed super low on this ship, point it in a safe direction, and then set cruise control on. It takes a little trial and error to know when to get out of the seat, but you want to exit the seat just before you get out of Armistice. You want to have enough time to get out of the seat, be done with the animation, and get set in a position where you're looking at the ship's owner and getting ready to start banging the number 2 key on your keyboard. Most traders by default are going to try to get back in the pilot seat and take control of the ship the moment you're done with the animation. If you time this properly, you're going to be just outside of Armistice. At this point, shoot and cap the pilot. Try not to, if you can, kill the pilot, especially if comms are up. Once the pilot's in cap, now take control of the ship again and fly out somewhere. Jump to an OM or somewhere, and then start doing dogleg jumps to just get away from the general area, in case another trader or backup's coming. Once you're in unmonitored space, you can try another extortion if you want, but at this point in time, it's usually futile. You can finish off the pilot, take him out, dump him in space, make sure to take his gear, and then fly out somewhere safe. Now, depending on how much cargo you have, here's the hard part. You might have to fly someplace remote and do the transfer all by yourself if you got nobody coming. You can pick up a box delivery mission and have a marker on the ship if you want to park in deep space, but this tends to be a little more trouble than it's worth, as it's always hard to jump out exactly where the ship is. Instead, what I do is go to a POI on some moon that maybe is not visited too much and nobody goes to, set a bearing from that point of interest, and fly out 80, 90, 100 kilometers. Once you're there, you can go ahead and put all your gear in local, backspace, and you'll have, in theory, a death marker where you're at. At the event you don't, well, you know where the ship is based on the point of interest you went to and the direction you took. Get to that heading, find the ship, and start transferring the cargo as fast as you can. Being planetside is risky because the cargo hauler has ways he can find the ship again, but check the server list. If he's logged off, it's relatively safe, and I use relatively very loosely. With that said, this is your quick, dirty way of how to steal ships, try to make some money, and get your foot into piracy in Star Citizen. Have fun. See you guys in the verse.